Nice to meet you. I'm Claire Constantine and this is my mum Mo Constantine.
Hello, nice to see you.
We both work for Lush and we make fresh face masks. So today we're going to be showing you how to make a fresh face mask at home from things you can find in your garden.
So earlier we went foraging for ingredients that would be nice for the skin and that are very available. So I've got a lovely garden, so some of these things are very ordinary, but they're in my garden. And they're what I call wayside plants. For example, I've got dandelion. I'm not going to use the heads, but I just thought I'd remind you what a dandelion looks like if you're not so familiar with them. They have these beautiful leaves, and they're often used in salads. So a lot of the ingredients that I'm talking about here are, so long as you recognise them correctly and you don't make a mistake on identifying them, they're very safe to use. Dandelion can be eaten. It's often chopped up into salads. So that's one lovely thing. So something like this, if you nip out on one of your walks and pinch some flowers from the curbside or in the park, you don't need much. Make sure you know what you're picking so you don't do something dangerous. But these are very regular garden flowers and you'll have been seeing them since you were a kid probably.
So what should we start with?
But I think what we'll start with is an infusion. An infusion is like a tea, hence the teapot. So Claire's going to take care of that. And we've got rosemary and lavender.
Yeah.
So that's going to be steeped in boiling water for maybe 15 minutes.
So the lavender is going to be really balancing on the skin and very soothing as well. And the rosemary is going to be quite stimulating.
Yeah. Well,
Anything
this
else?
word antiseptic crops up all the time with these kind of herbs, and you don't want to have a lot of antiseptic on your face, but it is very well known for helping to clear pimples and spots and irritated skin. So it never does any harm to think of it in those terms.
And we're just using a few sprigs of each thing and putting the whole plant in here so that we can get all of the nutrients from everything.
Absolutely.
So inside this teapot, I'm just popping these things into the tea strainer. So if you don't have a teapot like this, you can use your own tea strainer at home, or you can use a little bit of muslin cloth or a sieve, anything like that that's going to help to keep the bits out but get all of the lovely nutrients in there. So we're going to pour some boiling water in here, and then that's going to steep in there and get all of the nutrients into the water, which we're then going to use in our face mask.
Yes, but we're not going to drink it because it's horrible. So, I mean, we're all very fortunate in this country to have such lovely things. And I just figured that on day 44 of the lockdown, we need some treats. So if we can make ourselves a nice face mask, I think that's a lovely way to go. We've just talked about the dandelion, and I'm just going to ask Claire to cut that into little bits in a moment, because we're going to make a medley of these beautiful herbs. They've all got lovely properties, but the essence really, this is called Jack by the Hedge, this one. Quite a tall plant, or hedge garlic. The nice thing about these, they're often called weeds, but I love all this stuff. And they've got lovely folklore to them. So if you were to look up Jack by the Hedge, you'd find all sorts of interesting little bits and bobs about how it got its name, why it grows there, things you can do with it. For our purpose though, you can use this in food. You can chop it into your salad or a salsa, and you will get a mild garlic flavour, which is lovely. So that's just going to happen with us in a minute. Claire's going to cut it into
How
pieces.
do you recognise that one?
Well, essentially, we've got two things going on here. It's tall. It has these white flowers on the very end here. And then it's got these large heart-shaped leaves. So yeah, it's not, and it comes in very big clumps at the side of the road, and it's something you won't probably be aware of until you suddenly spot it and think, oh, I know what that is. It's hedge garlic. So
so how much of both of these are we using?
Okay, well, I have got a weight, but in fact we were going to go by handfuls really, so that it would be easier for you at home. So we wanted about 15 grams, I think.
I think it's about a handful of dandelion leaves, and then a sort of bigger handful of the Jack by the Hedge we're using today. That's what I've got in there so far, and that looks about right, doesn't it?
That's great, isn't it?
So you can imagine it's sort of basically a mug full of leaves there.
Yeah. So what we're going to do next is, hello, I've just been distracted by a cat coming in to see what's happening like they do. I'll just quickly explain to you where we are, which is I have a legendary shed, which I've stopped using over the last few years. But initially, I used to make all my products in the shed by the house, and so I am very associated with a shed, which is why I thought it would be appropriate to do something.
And what products have you invented in a shed, Mum?
Products I have invented over the years. This is over a long period
of time. All in a shed?
Yeah. Bath bombs. Did my first bath bombs in there. I particularly remember making the sex bomb in there. We've done shampoo bars. The kids used to come home from school and press the shampoo bars in the shed because we have one of these presses, and I think we've still got that actually. So that used to be good. I kept them in training for later years. And I've done soaps. Soaps is quite a big one. And I made a lot of soap in there. So it's quite nice now to have handed over the reins to manufacturing, which now churns out several tons of all of these things and thousands of bath bombs.
So what are we putting in next?
Okay, we're now going to make... in order to make a mask, you have to have a consistency that you can work with. So you need a sort of thick, creamy thing. So we've got the herbs in there. Sorry. We're going to put the yogurt in here. This is some natural organic yogurt.
This is actually a vegan one we've got here,
Vegan yogurt is the word I was looking for. Vegan. Yeah.
And we're doing 2 big spoonfuls. I'm actually going to do a little bit more.
Yes. Yeah. So that's lovely. And then we're going to take a little bit of, this was a capful of sunflower oil. You need a light oil, just something, you're talking about binding this and making something that's going to be spreadable when you've got it all prepared. So a light oil like sunflower oil is ideal. And all of these materials are available, they're either in your kitchen cupboards or at the supermarket. So, it's not a big deal to get hold of them. Now we're going to add 20 grams or something like that of the tea. If you've got scales, it's great, but you have to be, There
we go, so that's 20 grams in there.
That's lovely, excuse me.
And then are we adding anything else just yet, or are we going to whiz that up as it is?
We're going to whiz that.
We're going to whiz it up. So we're just using a handheld mixer. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah,
we're going to
I'm
use
on the mixing side. So.
A handheld whizzer. We call it a whizzer, mixer. That you should probably all have at home already. So.
That's what's going on this side of the basket. It chops all the herbs. It mixes everything together, blends everything together. So by now, yeah, it's coming on quite nicely, isn't it?
As you can see.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Okay. Just want to. Oh, you can really smell the garlic now. It's really lovely.
That might have been my lunch though. That does smell lovely.
Yeah, and you can see that you've got a mix of stuff, but not a texture that you can work with. So we're going to add now. I normally use a clay or a flour. It's anything like that. So I've used chickpea flour. Again, it's available in the supermarket. I mean, don't use self-raising flour because you'll just be making a paste. But choose
that'd be
a
quite
nice.
fun if it started to raise on your face, though.
That'd be hilarious.
No,
this would be lovely.
You can't make bread with chickpea flour, so you don't have to feel bad that someone else isn't having their loaf of bread for it either.
No.
So how much are we using?
Oh, we're using again. I think it's 20 grams, isn't it? Yeah. 20 grams of chickpea flour. It's like any other cooking that you do. If it's too loose, add a little bit more flour. Just put it in and take it steady. And then stir it with a spoon rather than trying to whiz it with the mixer, because that just blows everything apart.
Quite a nice texture already.
Yes.
We've got something else to add in, haven't we? We're doing mint as well.
In a minute, yeah.
So we've got a really nice texture coming along there. Looks a lot more like the fresh face mask you'll have seen in shops.
It's all much of a muchness, it really, once you've got to grips with how to make a mask, and then you can fiddle around with all sorts of ingredients, which is what we do. We just like to do it for you. Okay, so we're going to add some mint in here for 2 reasons. One, it is stimulating on the skin, so you'll feel that sort of zing when you're wearing the mask. And the other is it shields the smell of the garlic. So it's very refreshing, very lovely, and you can inhale that while you've got the mask on.
So I'm just picking some of the leaves off the stem here. So we're just using probably about 8 leaves of mint. Is that about right?
Yeah, you don't want to overdo it, but yeah. And everyone's familiar with mint, so that's that.
Yeah.
And by now we should have built up a nice set of ingredients which will lift your spirits and lift your skin. You'll be you will feel rejuvenated, you'll feel refreshed, and if you can get this on, we'll just put some on each other, shall we?
Yeah, we'll have a little go with it, shall we?
That's the proof, isn't it? Would you wear your own product? Oh yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Shall I put some on the back of your hand?
No, I was gonna.
Okay.
I'll put it in my hand because I'm going to rub it on you.
Oh God, I don't want that one.
So you can see you've got a nice sticky mass there, which is lovely. Do you not have much on? Because I don't use a lot of face mask on my delicate skin, but I know a lot of you don't like to smother it on. But yeah, you can just apply it on a willing daughter and a forgiving kitchen.
Oh, it smells so lovely.
It's lovely, isn't it? So you don't need to have masses of it. You can just put it on like this, sit in the sun and wait for it to dry, and then just pop under the local waterfall and rinse it off, and you'll feel like a different person.
Pop a little bit on yours, good. Just do a little bit on the cheeks there.
You've
We
seen
have a
this
lemon
before.
tree in the garden. We're very lucky, so we've plucked some lemons from the lemon tree.
So this was earlier, the lemon, and now you can use the husk as a little container.
And this is what you can imagine bringing to your bathroom
Yeah.
to put on your face. Isn't that lovely? Well, thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah,
We've had a lot of fun with you.
I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, we'll see you all again soon.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.